Welcome, everybody. Thank you for listening to Two in the Cooler. If you don't already, for some wacky, crazy reason, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Two in the Cooler, and check out our YouTube page. We've got clips from every episode going up there each week. It's a lot of great content just for you. And following us on social media is the only way that you can vote in the Who Would Win of the Week polls that we do every week, and you want to be a part of that. You want to have your voices heard, so be sure to follow us, subscribe, all that jazz. And, of course, it would be greatly appreciated. Share the show. Just share the show. Just say, hey, Two in the Cooler, you got to check it out. It's a wonderful podcast. You know, you say, oh, I love it so much. You know, it's great. You got Andy, who's just incredible, and he's so handsome. That's why I watch it on YouTube. And then there's that other guy who's also on there that's pretty good. His name starts with an M. Can't quite recall it right now. But be sure to spread the podcast. Share it with the people you love. That is huge for us. That's how podcasts grow. You know, it's just people talking to people, grassroots movements. Man, that's what we're doing here. So thank you to everybody who's already done that, and of course, subscribe and rate the podcast on iTunes. That's a big deal for podcasts. So thank you if you've done that already, and please look into that if you haven't yet. This episode of Two in the Cooler comes to you in affiliation with Instacart. 2021, folks. And you need to be using Instacart. Don't be a fart, use Instacart. That is the slogan that they told me to say. I did not come up with that. I did not write it. They said to me, Andrew, don't be a fart, use Instacart. That has tested very well with people, and we need you to start saying it on the podcast more. So I said, okay. I mean, you know, you guys are the boss. You guys are, you know, helping pay the bills. So we'll just do what we do. I will say about Instacart why it's so great. You can have some of your favorite local products from some of your favorite local stores delivered right to your door in as little as 1 hour. You have so much stuff to do around the house, and then you have to remember to go to the grocery store? Absolutely not. Also, the grocery store, look, I'm going to pass because I don't want to run into people I know. I don't want to. People with carts are maniacs. It's worse than driving on the roads. I don't want to deal with that. So just use Instacart. And the best part is Two in the Cooler listeners get $35. Get free delivery. Two in the Cooler listeners get free delivery, folks, on their first order of $35 or more. Just use the link in the show notes to get that deal. Thanks for listening, everybody. Here's the episode. Go Bills.
Warning, content warning. We are not a sports podcast. We are a lifestyle podcast. Sports just happen to be a big part of our lives right now.
Right.
That's the content warning.
Obviously.
And there's obviously a lot to address.
Yes.
There's obviously a lot to address. We're not going there yet. We're starting somewhere else.
I like it.
A new one-time segment that involves Andrew and only Andrew being on the hot seat.
Oh,
and
Jesus
he has to
Christ.
give us sports takes.
Okay, I like that.
So
Get my chapstick on.
we've obviously discussed the Brooklyn Nets on this podcast in the past.
Oh, boy.
Have you seen? I mean, you've been busy all day. Have you seen anything?
No. What, is there news? Is there news from the
This is
homeland?
even better. This is what I was
no.
hoping for because I cannot. I wanted an off. This is why I said to Andrew when we hopped on the podcast, I don't want to talk about anything else before we start this podcast. I want to start it because I had a weird feeling that you might not have seen this, and I am damn excited to get a true 100% expression. The Brooklyn Nets. So I'm not a big basketball guy. I don't know if it's 100% confirmed or if it's in the works, but everything that I've seen, there's already graphics and shit out there talking about, I'll get there, James Harden, the newest member of the Brooklyn Nets.
I've heard about this. There were rumors about this preseason that this was going to go down.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't know exactly, but I guess he made some comments last night in Houston about some other players on his team, maybe, and maybe that was the last straw. But I mean, even as somebody who's not a big fan of the NBA, I know James Harden. I know who he is on the court, and you know who he is off the court, and you know what's kind of been going on in the the saga that is James Harden's life right now. So he gets added to the Brooklyn Nets. I have a take on this. I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so like I said, I haven't seen anything. I haven't been on my phone at all today, so I don't know what the deal is if that's true. But yeah, I remember hearing rumors, rumors that he wanted to go there in the preseason. And the thing about KD and James Harden, they played together in OKC way back when, but they were both different players back then. Harden, I would say especially, was a different player and was certainly in the eyes of the league a different caliber player than he is now. And he is incredibly ball-centric. That guy is super used to having the ball in his hands. Now, he has to know that going to the Nets, that's not going to be the case for a couple reasons. Number one, obviously, you've got Kyrie and KD. Kyrie can control the game very well, so he's going to have the ball a lot for sure. And KD is a fucking scoring machine, so you have that. So he has to know that going in, that he is probably not he's not going to be the first option. And the second thing to consider in that is that, as I've been saying, the Nets are 12 deep. They're 11 deep right now because of Dinwiddie and his injury, his ACL injury. But they're still 11 deep as a team.
So I looked up the trade. So I'll tell you who it is.
Oh no!
So James Harden for Victor Oladipo. Victor
Oladipo?
And sure, whatever the hell his name is. And Caris LeVert.
Fuck, I knew they were going to take LeVert. You know what? Good for Caris LeVert. But fuck, I'm mad that we lost him. Because that guy's a phenomenal player.
Okay, so that's, I didn't know. I mean, I assumed that it was big money going the other way too for a player like James Harden, even with his issues. So I'll give you my take on it.
Okay.
And this is my take. This is my sports fan take.
All right.
I'm clear that I don't like the NBA. I don't like the way that the league operates. I don't like the way that these superstars just pick and choose where they want to play and are willing to kind of disrespect the people that they once played with, whatever. That's just a personal thing. That's like a personal preference of mine. But to me, it seems like the Nets have a good understanding of how this league operates, and they know that there's no guarantee that no matter how talented your team is one year, that those same talented guys are going to be there the next year. So I think that they are looking at, we haven't had a lot of success in the past. We have a team built for success right now. The chances are of somebody leaving, I feel like, after the season are high. So why not go all in regardless of the other factors and just try to win one now? Because the only way you're going to compete with those big teams is to have, I don't know, do you think that that's a potential way to look at this trade and James Harden going to Brooklyn? Or are you still overly concerned with the impact that it'll have on the locker room, maybe, especially because, like you said, James Harden, ball-centric guy, and you would often assume that most of these big-time professional athletes have an understanding that, okay, I'm going here, I might not be the number one guy, but at the same time, I feel like when you hear stories about a guy like James Harden, that ego does come into play. So do you think that he's going in there thinking they say they already have a guy, but they don't even know what I can do?
I don't know.
So let me add on that, because as I'm saying it, there actually could be a positive that if he was going to go in there, and work hard enough to like make, you know what I mean, to become their number one guy. I mean, obviously you can't look at that as a negative, but if he is going there expecting it, then I think that could cause a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not a Nets fan. I'm not an NBA fan. I saw this on Twitter just not even 2 hours ago, and I was really excited to get your take. I actually reached out to my basketball guy. He's not even a basketball guy, but he's a 76ers fan. He knows more about just I guess the overall NBA than I do because again, don't like the league. I'll say it 1,000 times. And he was kind of like, well, there was a time where I would have given up just about everything to have James Harden on my team. He also though said that does the general NBA fans, do they hate Kyrie? Like, is Kyrie a hated person?
I don't think so. I mean, I've never hated him.
Oh,
I always liked Kyrie
okay.
a lot.
Interesting. Because he had some take. He didn't appear to be a big Kyrie fan. I didn't know if that was a general consensus. He said that people would be on board with my take if I came out firing about Kyrie.
Oh, really?
And I trust his opinion, but I also just don't know basketball enough to start spitting super, super hot takes.
I don't know.
I'll do that in football and hockey, and that's coming up next. But okay.
Yeah.
So James Harden, we don't know. We're gonna have to see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens.
I guess I could.
I think you have. I
guess I could have. Yeah.
You have to. Kyrie's role as a scorer is going to go down, and he's going to become mostly playmaker.
Well, all three of those guys. Well, okay, sorry.
And then of course, man, it's gonna. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But I do think that Harden, you can't just go on like he has to know what he's going to sort of be a part of, that he's not always going to have to hold in his hand.
Make or break call right now. Team make them better or worse?
I guess in the short term, I would say he adds to the team.
So if he's just here for the remainder of this season, you say better.
Yeah. But the thing about Harden that we should also say is I don't know if you've seen him recently, but I don't know if it's the quarantine or what, but Harden has gotten chunky.
Yeah.
The guy's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy now. He's a tick. But he can still step back.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I guess that's all that matters. All right. Okay. So all three of them you would say would be in the starting lineup then? Like they'll be on the court together, hopefully getting some chemmy. Some chemmy going? Okay. Now we move on to address, obviously, I mean, if you're watching this from a visual standpoint, you see Andy's got the apparel. I've got the apparel. Andy's got more apparel.
That's right.
I didn't come soon with that much apparel, but I got apparel on my goddamn walls.
There you go. Only Bills gear on the podcast for the remainder of the season. That's my rule. So you're probably going to see this outfit every single episode, except for, as opposed to the 3 outfits that I usually just interchange week to week.
I was going to say, I think I could outlast you in Bills apparel, but
yeah,
we don't have to get into everything about this game, right? Like I said, we're not a sports podcast. We're just a lifestyle. These teams are a part of us, and that's why we talk about them. And if you're a fan of another team, then enjoy our takes, or I don't know, be miserable while we talk about this. But we have to talk about the Buffalo Bills. We're from Buffalo. We're Bills fans. The whole city's talking about the Bills. It wouldn't even be right for us to come on this podcast and not just kind of talk about. So they beat the Colts in dramatic fashion, heart racing, stressful fashion, and now we move on to the Baltimore Ravens coming into Buffalo, 8:15 p.m. on a Saturday night. It's going to be cold. It's supposed to snow during the game. We're talking about playoff football here, baby. Mm-hmm. There ain't nothing better. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, come on. The only thing I want to get into from the last game is the fumble call at the end of the game. And a big part of me was trying to come into this podcast and say, don't let yourself get distracted. It doesn't matter. Don't let yourself bring that up. It doesn't matter. But guess what? I don't care, because I'm a sports fan, and it's not fun to be like a dedicated sports fan if you can't just bitch about anything, right? And so you have to just
it's like voting for president.
It has to be addressed. Exactly. We're almost at a time. This is a horrible thing to say, but where the passion for some of these things almost comes from still like being able to complain about it, right? Like it boils your blood a little bit.
It's interesting.
If you're the NFL, you watch it, you worked it, you probably saw more camera angles than the goddamn rest of us. Because the game was on CBS, so you knew what was happening behind the scenes.
I mean, not really.
How do you? I know, but like you were watching.
But
I'm not saying. I don't mean really, but you were
bit.
watching it.
Yeah.
How do they fuck off that bad and mess up that call? Do you know? Like, what is? Because I haven't heard one single person say that they made the right call.
I think that, that's a thing. I mean, when they cut to the fella, in New York or whatever, the
rules expert.
Yeah. Usually, whatever he says flies.
Is wrong.
No, usually whatever
he's
he
always
says
wrong.
like,
The rules expert is always wrong. But in this case, he wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't in this
I don't
case.
mean, okay, so let me rephrase.
Okay.
The rules expert isn't always wrong, but whatever the rules expert says is the opposite of what's going to happen on the field. And this is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I watched there was 6 football games this past weekend. I watched 6 football games.
Maybe they're just doing it to spite him then.
The calls like that are being made are just, I mean, I could sit here and complain all day about the delayed game shit, the play clock shit. That drives me crazy. But I've come to the point that I've talked to enough people from other walks of life and are fans of other teams where they say, like, that shit happens. Like, because the way the ref has to watch the ball and the clock at the same time, they get almost 2 full seconds, it looks like, these days of, like, reasonable doubt, right? Which I don't understand how that. I'm just now noticing that. Like, I don't think that was ever how it was. Like, either way, I'm going to bitch about that. I'm just going to expect it going forward. If I see the play clock hit 0, the yellow flag doesn't come out, I'm not even going to bitch about it because whatever, if it goes one way, both ways, if it's happening all over the board, whatever. But this fumble call, the problem is because it wasn't called correctly, it becomes a play that was so underrated to begin with that now it just doesn't even exist. You watch Jordan Poyer, a guy who has just been consistently getting snubbed from the Pro Bowl since he's been a Buffalo Bill. He's been outstanding.
Yeah, he's an excellent player.
Top safety in the league. He's been all over the field. He makes plays, whatever. This play happens, right? I don't even remember the guy. It was his name starts with a T. Can't think of it off the top of my head. Receiver for the Colts catches the ball, goes to the ground. Good catch, right? But he's not touched. Like he's not down by contact, so he goes to get up to try to continue to extend the play because it's late in the game. They're looking for any yards they can get. So Jordan Poyer makes a split-second decision in his head. Just one of those freak athlete like calls that you just could never make if you weren't that person. And he sees this happening. He's like, holy shit, this guy's about to get up, but he's still surrounded by 2 of us. He's not going to get away. Let's let him get up and see if we can take this football. And Jordan Poyer does exactly that. He waits for almost the exact second for him to get off the ground before he even puts that hand on his back, right? And he just rips that football right out. It's a great football play. That is a high IQ football play. That is a great play. It was the right play. Call on the field should have been a fumble. Or it should have got overturned. I'm sorry. It's difficult for a ref in real time to make that call. But once you go to booth review, and I'm sitting in Florida watching this game on what I was calling it was like 480p. Like, it wasn't the clearest screen I've ever watched a football game. It wasn't a preferred clearedness, I should say. And I could see when you're looking at it when you're looking down at the end zone, you can see perfectly the space between Poyer's hand and his back, and you can watch that knee pop up, and then Poyer makes a play. How do you fuck this up, Andy?
I think that, you know what it reminds me of? I think that it's just if you're a ref, nobody likes you. So it reminds me of I just think that they are trying to stick together kind of as refs because like there's so much animosity towards them, and when that happens it's like we gotta, these guys are crazy, we gotta look out for each other. So I think that clouds their vision in a sense that when one of them makes a call, even if it's not the right call, they can often be reluctant to overturn it because they feel, like fuck these guys. Like I make the rules. The rules are whatever I want them to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and especially,
because then you see
maybe even especially when it's a call like that, that's a big call and so obvious when you see it in the replay that they're like, oh boy, we can't go around saying that our guys fuck stuff up like this, so badly. We gotta just.
But my thing is like
on this one.
I understand like the mentality of not wanting to make a call that's going to change the outcome of a game, but that's a situation where by not making that call, by not making the right call, I mean you could see you could see the Colts moving on right now instead of the Bills, right? Yeah. Like it was that close of a call. Like that's 30 seconds left in a football game. Possession should change. The game should be over or whatever, however much. It was a minute left. I don't know. And then the NFL officiating PR Twitter tweets out that it's the right call. Like, fuck you.
They don't know.
I would rather you just tweet nothing.
Yeah, don't tweet anything in that situation. What are you, fucking crazy? Just be quiet.
Yeah, who cares? Don't tweet. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, just eat. You know what I mean? Like, eat the chirps, eat whatever you got to eat because it didn't affect the game. Thank God.
Yeah, thankfully.
But it only makes me more nervous for next week because you just never know when you're going to see a call that's going to change the game. Watch it. Fuck, dude. I can't even think of. It actually might have been the Titans-Ravens game. There was another call, and it was late in the game. There was like 2 minutes left or whatever, and I don't know. Was the Titans-Ravens game right after the Bills game?
I think so. But
either way, whatever it was. No, the Rams game was. Okay. Either way, I'm getting sidetracked. I think it was the Titans-Ravens game. Whatever game it was, team that's down has the football, driving, not very much time left in the game. And no, it was the Washington football team versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. That's what game it was. Washington football team has the ball. They're driving. Late in the game, down by a score. Completed pass on 2nd and 10. And they rule it. Or no, it wasn't even. It was like a completed pass. Whatever it was. It was like 2nd and 7 or something like that. So a completed pass, 2nd and 7. Running back catches the ball in the flat. Takes 2 strides. Ball gets punched out. Ball rolls out of bounds. So ball goes then back to the spot of the fumble. Still Washington ball. Blue beanbag on the ground, on the field. The official that was closest to it deems it a catch and a fumble. Comes up the line, runs over, tells that guy, no, incomplete pass. He never had possession of the ball. And you're inside of 2 minutes. Washington has no timeouts, so you can't review this play. But when you go back and watch it on the replay, it's so clear that it was a catch and a fumble. To me, right? Nobody knows the real rules, but that's how it looks to me. So then you go from what would be like 3rd and 4 to it stays 3rd and 7. And then on 3rd down, sack, 4th and like 11 or something like that. The game's over. They don't pick it up. But that's a play where you go from having a 3rd and 4 to what ends up turning into a 4th and 11 because of the wrong call by a ref. And that is a play that people might not say that changes the game, but that changes the game to me. You don't know if Washington's going to go down and score or not, but you have to at least give them the chance. And the fact that one official that's right there makes the call and another guy, I mean, he was on the same sideline, so maybe he thought he had a better vantage point of the ball down the field. I feel like you cannot make that call. Like, I don't know.
But
I guess it all comes back to
you
the
have
same
to
thing
make
as like
some
when
kind of call.
you can. I know you have to.
Sometimes
You
it's
have
the
to
wrong
pick
one,
something. All right.
But
Fuck.
that's
So the
it's a
NFL's on
thing,
my shit list now too.
you know.
But I still love football.
That's this sort of thing is always going to happen, always. You know, there's never going to be a perfect system. I think there's always going to be human error. Even if they were to do it with robots, I feel like people would still be like, it's not calibrated or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a big debate in sports. Is like if you made it all like that, like, does that take out human error, which is a true part of the game? I mean, answer to that would
Would
be
change the game.
yes. If you went completely robotic, it would change the game because you take out all human error, and that's not how sports have ever worked. It changes the old timey view of, like, true passionate pure sports fans. They don't.
Right.
So I get that. But my problem is, why do you get to pick and choose when you get to watch shit in super slow-mo 4K, 8K, HD, and when you can just I feel like they overanalyze calls that in the regular season, and then you get to the playoffs and all of a sudden they just start getting everything wrong.
I don't know.
I don't
The
know.
other thing is, it's playoff football. All the games are going to be watched by a lot of people. You don't want any blowouts. You know what I mean? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Could have something to do with it. I don't know.
But that what I'm no, it's just I don't know. I have no answer. So the last thing I want to say was just, and I already ran out of juice to get into this, and we've been talking about sports for the first 25 minutes of this podcast. But the NHL starts today. Well, for you guys, it would be yesterday, but we're recording on Wednesday. NHL starts today. Full NHL slate of games. Sabres play tomorrow. I'm just thankful that I can watch hockey again because God damn, I love it. The World Juniors gave me a quick taste, and now I'm all in. All right. Moving on from sports. I don't even know what else is going on in the world. Honestly, the only thing I've looked at today has been NHL content and James Harden happened to slip backs.
That's wild. I'm going to have to look into that.
I don't know what's going on out there. I actually do have a story.
Okay, lay it down.
That has nothing to do with sports.
Okay.
So last week recorded from Florida. So I got home. On Sunday or Monday. I don't remember when I got home. But either way, the rule was New York State, they did this thing where you have to, in order to have no quarantine, like whatever, they want you to get tested the day before you flew back into New York State, and then get tested 72 hours after returning home. 2 negative tests, and you're free to go. So, not that I think people should listen to that, because not that you should be ignorant, but it's past the point of Andrew Cuomo just having the coldest takes of all time. Colder than my sports takes. So anyway, but I have to go back to hockey next week, all this shit. So I was like, I'm just going to follow the rules, make sure I don't run into any complications. So I go to get a rapid test today at a place in Niagara Falls. To drive through rapid test, you drive through, quick double nose swab, no big stick or anything. I mean, it's not comfortable, but it is what it is. And you drive away and they call you within the hour. So I go to get my test and I'm sitting in my car, driver window down. I'm looking straight at the boulevard, and there's a motel on the boulevard, and it's a classic boulevard motel. You know the motels.
Yeah, if you don't know about boulevard motels on Niagara Falls Boulevard, there's a bunch of these small creepy motels. Some of them are motels / used car lots, and basically they're all for pedophiles that get out of prison.
So, thanks for explaining that, because let me tell you this now.
Oh no.
So, I'm sitting there in my car, and I turned the radio. I was listening to some sports talk radio. I turned the radio down so that I could, talk to the nurse or doctor or whatever was going on, person that was doing my test for me. And while they're inside and I still am sitting there with my window down, from this motel across the street, blasting through some type of loudspeaker. I don't know what kind of loudspeaker it was, but like loud enough to where I'm in my car on the other side of the boulevard and I can hear it like I'm sitting in a room listening to the radio. Like it is blasting. And it wasn't a song.
Oh no.
It was the video clip. Well, I don't know like what it was, but it was the Purge announcement with the horn going off in the background, and the lady that goes like no like emergency something for 12 hours, like long live the founding father. That is ripping as like blasting loud through the loudspeaker while I'm just sitting there trying to get my COVID test. I have never wanted to be armed in my life. Like so bad in my life. Like I was ready to, like, if a group of people storms out of that motel and looks like they mean business, I was going to start hitting them with my car. Like I was fully prepared. Like, cause like I was trying to go through it. I'm like, it's not like somebody was in there watching The Purge, Andrew. Like I'm saying it was.
Yeah, somebody was
blasting.
Playing this. Yeah. Ooh.
On purpose.
Yeah, well, of course. And you know what? If there was any group in the area that I would think would like be doing that, it'd be the folks in those motels. Can you imagine though that maybe you weren't on the list for The Purge and you were just in that hotel for some reason and you heard that shit? I'd be like, oh boy, I'm in the wrong place.
Like,
I'm gonna pack up my bed bugs and run.
I ran my brain through like every scenario of why that could be playing, because I've heard it played like before sports games, you know, like teams use it to get amped up.
Sure.
They use it as their walkout song. Andrew, this is a hotel in the middle of Niagara Falls Boulevard. There's no reasonable reason that should have been playing that loudly for the whole. And honestly, I say it was coming from the hotel, but like I couldn't even pinpoint where it was coming from because it was so loud. It wasn't like I could hear it, but like it was definitely coming from across the street, I should say, but it could have been coming from the woods behind the motel. I don't know. There could have been people dying back there, and I just drove away and did nothing about it.
Well, what can you do in that situation? If the when the motel people rise up, there's not going to be a lot of places for us normal folks to hide. You know, they're going to get in there. They're going to get in their used cars, their white panel vans, and just kind of have at it. Pick up supplies at the 7-Eleven across the street, and just go to town on the city. I guess those are the guys that have nothing to lose. Imagine, especially right now, staying at one of those spots during COVID. I don't know, because those places. It's amazing to see that some of them. It's that some of them are still open. Because I
wanted to take my hat off. I had just gotten it, and I didn't change the brim yet, and it was kind of pinching my forehead. Sorry, go ahead.
It's just wild, those places. And, like, it almost... I don't know. I've seen one time, like, cops, bursting in and kind of raiding, like, these motels. One of the ones on the boulevard. I think that... I don't know. Maybe they should shut them down. But, like, these guys, they get out of prison... And then that's like where they go. They got no place to stay, so they go to these like crazy, creepy motels that man, I don't know. I wouldn't want to stick around there. But you kind of like if you just drive through that area, you kind of forget that they're always there. I have no idea where Matthew.
It's a very weird. Sorry, I was
switching out hats. Okay, good. Well,
but I wanted to make sure it was another Bills hat.
That's right.
Exactly. See, I was doing my part, and I was listening, and I agree. It's a very weird dynamic.
Like maybe they should just take them out, you know. But then, what do you do with all the folks that are in prison? Because they do need like somewhere to go. Like I'm sure not all of them are in fact pedophiles. I've heard that most of them are, but I don't know.
Hopefully they're reformed. I don't know. I've never stepped foot in one of those places. I'm not saying
pedophiles can be reformed because that's
reformed. It's like a disease. Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know how that works.
One way to deal with pedophile. Although have you heard like the stories about like the people that their like stuff is caused by brain tumors? Have you heard that?
I mean,
It's
I
only
know
a
that
couple
I watch a lot.
cases,
I watch
think.
enough Grey's Anatomy to know that brain tumors can do a bad thing to somebody.
Okay,
But
well,
I've
yeah,
never
that's
really.
you
Yeah.
don't have to watch Grey's Anatomy to know that brain tumors are bad. But there's, um,
No, I mean like that they cause like crazy changes in behavior and
mhm.
stuff like that. You know.
Like there was this guy. I've
So
heard the story a bunch of times that there was this guy who he started to be like attracted to children, and he went to the doctor and he got a scan or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, you got a brain tumor." I don't think he told the doctor like, "Hey,
I was attracted to children.
I'm looking to get at some kids. Sign me up for that Subway footlong." But
I hope you didn't say that.
but
Oh, like, see,
but
whoa. So now I realize that was a
that
what's
was
his
a
name?
Jeremy
Jeremy from
from
Subway. reference?
Jeremy.
But
That would make
it
it a lot worse if
felt
his
a
name was
little.
Jeremy. Jeremy's a
What's his
surefire
name?
pedophile name. Jared.
Oh, Jared.
So this guy went to
Yeah,
the
but okay.
doctor, got the scan, and they're like, "Oh, you have a tumor." And so they cut the tumor out, gone. His uh, pedophilial inclinings gone.
Good for that guy.
2 years
Happy for that
later,
guy. Uh-oh.
he starts to get the feeling again. Goes back to the doctor. The tumor's growing again.
Tumor?
That's how he fucking did
Tumor's
it,
back?
which is crazy.
Wow.
They took it out.
That's a weird
Yeah,
symptom.
it's crazy. It's crazy to
I hope
yeah, and just look at him now. He had his own private island. He flew with Bill Clinton 26 times.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
doing
he
his
must
thing.
be reformed.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect. Aye. I mean, I'm trying to think of. I feel like I've just weird shit's been happening, like the purge thing, for example. And I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of like in Florida, like where what I feel like I have more things to say, and my brain is
well,
too scattered.
don't push yourself.
Yeah.
Don't push yourself.
No,
There's
I
all
would never
kinds of-
fatigue myself, not
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Not
I
for the
wouldn't
list.
worry about it.
Well, actually, another thing I forgot to bring up is you put a really interesting photo out on our social media yesterday.
Yes, that is correct. The
Um,
last beer in the cooler.
the last beer in the cooler. So
Yeah.
as you guys know, we've told you the two in the cooler story, how we got the name from our uncle, right? So we found some more good kind of reinforcement that's kind of like just confirms that it's a genetic thing, this two in the cooler lifestyle mentality. And one of our cousins, while cleaning out the bar that was at our grandma and grandpa's house, found a very, very old looking beer. They had a tag on it, like a tag on it with a handwritten note. And long story short, it turns out that back in 1985, different uncle though, was drinking some beers with my grandfather, and he was drinking my grandpa's beer, our grandpa's beer, and there was only one left inside in the cooler, shall we say, and it was a kind of beer that my uncle didn't like. So he had some beers, in a cooler in the back of his car. So he went around and just grabbed some of his own beers so he could keep drinking. And our grandpa said to him, like, nope, like this is like the last beer of mine you'll drink until like it's gone. And my uncle never drank it. And we found it still unopened, sitting there with a handwritten note that has the date 1985, Sean's last beer on it, in my grandpa's handwriting, in our grandpa's handwriting. Sorry, I keep saying my.
Yeah, we're
And
brothers.
I thought that was pretty damn cool. It's just
It's just so funny
another
because you always
little-
hear stories about people's parents. I think this is kind of a thing that expands past our family, but just people's parents, like if they don't if they don't eat their dinner, then they just like sit at the table. They're like, you got to finish, and then if they don't finish that night, it goes in the fridge for breakfast. You're eating what you
or on your
did
pillow,
not-
or on your
or
pillow.
on your pillow.
Yeah.
Yep, you're eating what you didn't have, and that's like the ultimate of it. And that beer, that was a kind of beer that I'd never even heard of before. Do you remember what it was called?
I don't
It was
even
like a
remember what it
Utica-
was.
A Utica.
Oh, Utica.
something, which is
Yeah.
probably not even in business anymore. But I would
No.
like to try one. They
Like
said it tasted
wasn't
like shit
cream.
then,
It
but I'd
wasn't
like to try it. No, it wasn't that, but it looked like
wasn't
you can see the
pat.
picture on our Instagram at Two in the Cooler and at on our Twitter at Two in the Cooler. Posting all kinds of great stuff on there all the time, so you can follow us on there, and you can see this photo. But it looks like, yeah, I was like, I thought it was like an old Coors Banquet because that's the
That is what it
glass
looks like a
bottle that
bit.
it looked
Yeah,
like.
it's a glass bottle. But I feel like that was just that was beers. I feel like beers came like that back in the day more often than like we think. You know, now we only ever see that in if you were drinking a Coors Banquet or like a Red Stripe, I guess. But back in 1985, who knows? I wasn't alive. You weren't alive.
No, I was not. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not an immortal being, and I was not alive in 1985.
Far from immortal, I would say.
I don't know. I have not died yet, so I'm pretty sure that I'm going to live forever.
Confirmed. Andrew has not died yet. I will lock that in. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot going on. Another thing that just came to my brain has nothing to do with anything. I'm kind of scattered today. I don't know if you noticed.
You're a little out there today.
But I haven't done anything. I've kind of been on vacation, and then long day yesterday, and then just between like wanting to clean and organize finally, and then I have the test, and I have the podcast, of course, and then I have hockey afterwards. So I'm just trying to, find my rhythm again now that I'm home. But I've watched a lot of like HGTV, like Lakefront Bargain.
Oh,
like,
those
you know
ones?
what I mean? Like shows like that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is my new passion has nothing to do with looking at the houses or trying to figure out which of the 3 houses they'll pick or however many they show them. It's strictly to sit there and just make fun of like just how stupid the people on some of these shows are, like the contestants or whatever you want to call them, like the people that are going to pick out the houses. Like, there's no better spot to generate comedy than to sit down, watch one of those shows, and just be able to make fun of the people that are participating in them. Because there's never once been a candidate that or there's never once been a couple or whatever that comes on that screen and you're like, wow, I really wish that like
I really hope these people are happy. I really hope that these people
even if you like one of the spouses, like there's no way you're gonna like both of them, and the chances of you even liking one is so rare that but that's the entertainment value, I guess.
Well, you're
right?
finally on it. I think that is the only reason that they've kind of grabbed onto the fact that that's like what people do when they watch it. It's the same thing sometimes. It's different, I guess, with Chopped, because Chopped is a competition, and Chopped is an incredible show for people of all ages. But you can't watch even the good HGTV shows like Love It or List It or Property Brothers. They're still going to have people on them that suck. I don't know why. Yeah. That is, you can say it's edited all over the place. It's edited all over the place, but I think you're just dumb people. Like if you are the type of person that walks into a room and you're like, oh, I hate this room. We can't buy this house because the color of the walls is magenta and I want it to be periwinkle. You should be locked up and forced to live in one of those motels on the boulevard because you're a crazy person.
Yeah. My thing is, like, see, the Property Brothers, like, I'm very specific. Like, I could actually watch the Property Brothers and have my main purpose would be to make fun of people. But it wouldn't be my only goal because they at least, like, are doing cool stuff. Yeah, and this isn't, like, what I'm about to say isn't supposed to be, like, a shot at people, right? Because when you watch, like, the one I was watching the other day, the Lakefront one, it was a lot of, like, like $100,000 to $200,000 like lake properties, which is a shit ton of money that I could not afford, and I would love a lake house of any type. But when I'm sitting down to watch TV, like I want to see these people that are like trying to buy like $1 million houses. You know what I mean? I want to see cool shit and like shit
Gotcha.
that makes you think like, wow, I want that house one day. I don't want to
You want to
see
watch MTV
like
Cribs.
I don't want to see like a double wide that's got like bunk beds in and a bathroom in the same room for your kids, and that's your exciting point. Like, not that that's something that I don't personally want, but it's not what I want to watch. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting that, because I agree. Like, I would love like a cabin like that. You don't need all this extra shit. But when I watch shows, I want to see this extra shit. I want to see them turn these houses into like luxury homes. Whereas this lakefront show is like, as long as it's not a tent, it's good to go pretty much.
Yeah. I think that they just, I think that they probably feel they are
Including
losing
like all different aspects.
viewers or whatever, and they want to like expand it. Maybe they want to seem more like approachable and obtainable as a network, but they don't realize that that's obviously not why you're tuning in.
Not what
it is
people-
like
yeah,
I was saying, you want the MTV Cribs effect. Like, that's why you're watching, because
Yeah.
you know, in America, there's an obsession with things, because, you know, that's proof that you are a good and successful person. And so you want to strive to get those.
To have
those
nice
things.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we want to see. That's, you know, although, because I wonder though, because you have on one spectrum, you have Kardashians, and on the other spectrum, you have Honey Boo Boo. However, let's make a note of this. Honey Boo Boo, that show, long forgotten, canceled, who knows how long that went down. Kardashians, they cut it off themselves. That show was on for like 30 fucking years or whatever.
It was still on.
I know, but they're stopping it. It's like they got like one season
Why?
left
Now
or
that
something
Kim
like
and
that.
Kanye got divorced, and they finally they found out Kanye was fucking Jeffree Star, and they
No, they
decided to call it
decided
quits.
before that.
Which, by the way, there's no way that I just can't believe that that's
I
true.
don't know. All kinds of stuff is.
I guess I don't
going
know.
on. Yeah, look, both of them are great friends of the podcast. We should say.
Yeah,
No,
like
I got no
the
clue.
divorce. The divorce does not shock me whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I think people are just jumping through hoops to try to drum up more. Which obviously, again, it comes back even to like, you're trying to create entertainment, right? So you have to, you know, make these hot takes. I guess it's just like us. So I guess for people who are fans of like the entertainment industry, it's just like us at the beginning of every season saying that the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, even though that's true this year, right? Like we're just making just these humongous claims that have no factual like basis, right? Like it doesn't. It's just what we say.
Well,
so I guess
see,
I give it to him, but
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't really care if that one's true. You got it, whatever, you know. But like there was Army Hammer, what is supposedly a cannibal now. Did you see that? You know Army Hammer from
I don't even know who that
Social
is.
Network? He was, you know what he was? He was the Lone Ranger, which I think that movie made $11 in theaters.
Wait, what? Wait, the Social Network. Who was he in the
He's
Social Network? Is that who
Winklevoss
plays?
He's the Winklevoss twins.
Oh, fuck those guys.
Well, there's just one guy who played both twins. It's just one.
I know, but like in
in
Look at
just
Social
in real
Network,
life.
I
fuck
just
them.
hate those
Well, they're very
guys.
handsome, you know, supposedly.
Well, no,
They're
in the
rowers.
movie they just are so like preppy and
Yeah.
on the row team and like
Yeah.
fuck them.
You didn't see that? Supposedly, his like kink is that he would like tell girls like he wants to eat like pieces of their skin and stuff. He's like, I want to like cut part of your cheek off and I want to eat it. And he's
Is he
just, like jerking
okay?
off.
So,
He's
but
like,
here's the difference though.
okay.
Is he doing it though? Has he ever eaten somebody's skin? Because I would say that's a
knows?
kink,
Who
not a true
knows?
cannibalism.
I think that could.
But it's still a
be-
weird ass
it's
kink.
super
I'm not
weird.
saying
It's
that
super
that's
weird.
okay.
But I do think that but there is some stuff where people do people are just into like really weird, like kind of violent stuff like that, because violence and sex are very close to each other in American society. I've been reading a new book, that's why I got all these insights out of that. But they supposedly is a cannibal. I don't know, but that's the thing. But Armie Hammer, I don't think is at the level of celebrity where you could do that and like not get caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't really want to get into cannibalism. That's all my brain can think about right now.
Okay, we don't have to
I
get
think
into
that this is
cannibalism.
yeah.
But
No,
celebrities are obviously
yeah.
doing weird things. The Weeknd has a new face, which
No,
I
they
did
can do
not
whatever
think
they
was
want.
real.
Odell Beckham Jr. has people taking shit on his chest. Remember when that was the thing? Like, yeah, they
Oh,
can do whatever
yeah,
they
yeah,
want.
yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
cares.
yeah.
Whatever.
All
Like
sorts
people
of people
care,
do
but
that.
like,
It's not a big deal.
yeah.
I don't know. It's like just somebody like running
Are
out
you
into the street and
are
being
you
like,
confessing? Are you confessing to enjoying people taking
"Oh,
shits on your
absolutely not,
chest?
absolutely not. It's
Seems like
disgusting."
you were a little
But I
too on
think,
board with that, my
well, I
friend.
just think that
Oh yeah,
that's
that's
like
no big deal. People just take shits on each other's chests
because
all
I
the
think
time.
that they
Let's
do.
go out
I
and
think
do
that that's probably one of like the most popular, like disgusting things that people do.
People
Sorry,
do.
disgusting.
I
Whatever.
don't
If you
know.
like it, that's your own deal.
No,
But
it's disgusting. It's poop. It's
it's,
disgusting. Yeah, what? Like,
but I
I
think
don't
that.
feel bad
But
for
I think
saying
that
that
like
that's
probably
gross.
a lot more people do that than like any of us would guess.
1 in 5 people take shits on each other's
You know
chests.
what?
Like
That
a
might be
stat like
close
that.
to the statistic.
No,
Yeah.
I sure hope
Do
not.
some kind of like, yeah,
So you're
shitting.
saying that
Yeah. Like
so you're saying that
one
with for
fifth of the
everybody,
population.
for every guy, for every like person who's ever had more than 5 sexual partners, one of them was hoping that they just randomly shit at
Yes,
some
one of
point.
them. They probably didn't bring it up. Maybe that's not something that they've even admitted to themselves. But I do think that yes, in the 1 in
It would turn
5
them
in
on
the
a little
back of their
bit.
mind is like, you know, take off the depends and just let it fly right onto my chest.
Maybe that's why certain people are into like older people because that's like people think they're gold diggers. No, they just want them to
Oh, you think
uncontrollably
it's
not be able to control their bowels.
ooh. That almost makes sense, but that's so gross that I don't want to think about it anymore.
All right, so we're off of shit and we're off of cannibalism. How about a little Hooverman of the week?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a nice,
Yeah.
safe segment, a family-friendly segment. Oh, I was gonna say, we could switch the one guy for Gordon Ramsay if you wanted to.
A little bit more violence,
A little bit more violence, yeah.
like a little bit more pep in the step. I actually like it better the original way because I think that it plays more of just
Ooh, curious.
like
Okay, let's do it. Yeah,
You're
we'll have to have
saying-
Gordon Ramsay fight somebody at some point. But
wait, just to clarify, who
I'm saying the little guy.
his counterpart versus Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
No, see, I would rather. Okay, I would like to do. So
Wait.
should we just tee it up now? Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we'll just do the original because I know what you're talking about. So
Are you talking about replacing?
I'm replacing the guy with him, with Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what I thought. I would rather do it the other way around.
Okay, interesting. I like it. Let's see what the people think. Because this Who Would Win of the Week is going to be a world renowned world renowned chef with a T. If you study for like a very long time, the
Yeah,
secret
then you're a
sixth
chef.
Michelin star, you get a T. You get a chef
Yeah.
after 6. Is world renowned chef Remy the Rat from Pixar's Ratatouille versus the the
Ratatouille.
king of the Food Network, Bobby Flay. It's
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille. Eat my
So
ratatouille.
right away, I have a bunch of questions, and I said this again before the show. I said I don't want to discuss it. I want to talk about it on the air.
Okay.
Is Remy on a human or is he solo?
They're fighting, right? It's a physical fight.
Well, that's also part. That's in my. That's
Because
in a
I
series
think
of questions.
I think that
Is this a cook-off or is this a true fight?
maybe it could be. Is there a way it could be both? I think it could be both. In a
A
way.
cook-off, but whoever loses the cook-off has to die.
Sure, it's like a cook-off to the death.
Okay, so then I don't think
So the
it.
stakes are high.
I don't think it necessarily. Well,
Here's,
still, is it
I was
human or
thinking
no
about
human?
that. I'm gonna go no human because we
Okay.
do see Remy, use Linguini the human in Ratatouille for the whole movie. But at the very end, when he makes the dish Ratatouille, Remy does find a way to like just move
Do it
things around the
himself.
kitchen and do it himself.
Yeah,
so
so
he's,
we
he's
have faith
capable
that he can handle
even on his
own.
own. Yeah.
So this is a cook-off, and the loser dies by being stoned.
Okay.
Because that's a shitty way to die.
That
I'm
is a
just trying
shitty
to
way to
raise
die.
the stakes here.
That's one of my.
It's not like you're going by
we'll have
lethal
to do
injection.
that sometime, like top worst ways to die. Because everybody always talks
Yeah.
about like
Drowning
being
is
burned alive.
number one.
That's the thing, burned alive versus drowning. I'm tired of that. That's not a very exciting conversation to me anymore.
So before we even continue to the who, now I'm on drowning.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
Jesus.
but the Hood of the League is
I've
going to have
almost
to wait.
drowned several
So-
times in my life, like legitimately drowned.
Why?
Just none of it was when I was like actually, swimming in competition and stuff or like in practice. It was all in pools and like both situations were basically I was underwater coming up and then there was somebody or something above me I didn't realize and I couldn't get out from under them. And then it was just kind of that classic thing of like thrashing around, and that obviously only makes it worse. So, luckily.
Oh, here's then my. Have you ever heard our father describe in detail drowning to you? Because he does it to me like once every 3 months just for fun.
Those were
Because
the
he knows how
bedtime
much
stories.
he knows how much it gets under my skin.
He just
like, of
goes
that
through
thought
the
of, like-
technical process of
Not drowning. I should lie. Drowning, I don't know is necessarily the worst. Drowning because you're trapped under ice is my fear.
Yeah. Yes. One of mine too. That's scary. See, that's a whole thing in its own. We could talk about that all day because that's
All right.
terrifying.
Well, if we're on the same page there, then we
then
won't
we
even
can
get
move
into
on.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue
So
with the
back
who
to
would win.
Remy versus Bobby Flay. What are they cooking? Is it dealer's choice?
I think it. Yeah, I guess so. Well, here's the thing.
That makes it
Here's
way
what
more
I think
difficult
gives
to
Bobby
choose, though.
Bobby Flay the edge is that he literally has a show where people come on and cook
challenge
their
him.
specialty. They challenge him to cook their specialty head to head, and he beats them basically all the time on that show. Like he only loses
but,
a couple
like,
times.
It's hard to say that they could just cook whatever they wanted.
I also think their styles are both
because-
super different.
Yeah.
Because Bobby Flay is very, flowing in the kitchen. I guess Remy is too. But Remy also, I think,
Remy
has,
flows. Remy's got some
Remy
good
definitely,
flow.
Remy definitely flows. I take that back. Remy definitely flows. But I think that at the end of the day, his mind is on the structure, whereas Bobby Flay's is on each aspect of what he's making individually.
I still think it matters what they're cooking.
Okay.
Because how are you going to judge two completely different meals? I mean, I guess okay. I guess, but that's the thing is,
Well, let's just say
Then-
I don't know. Let's just say they're cooking
Either-
something.
yeah, but you can't go like you can't get into pasta because that's Remy's thing. But it's
Sure.
not like you can go on the grill because Bobby Flay's never lost
What
on the grill
about
in his life.
what about they each just have like a big fish? They each just have a salmon, like a raw salmon, and they get to choose however they prepare it.
How they make it?
Yeah.
They have ingredients. Okay,
Sure.
okay.
It's like a
I'll
chopped
get down with this. I
basket.
don't like the fish call though, but they get a chopped basket.
Yeah. Which one of them would win chopped for the who would win? And
I think there's a lot of things you got to consider.
Yeah.
Can I start?
Yeah,
Can I get
please.
into it? It doesn't matter what you throw in that basket. It's not going to phase Bobby Flay. There's going to be no nerves. Remy, on the other hand, he's so creative, but does he lack experience to where he might get it might rattle his cage a little bit, standing there cooking off against Bobby Flay and not knowing what he's going to make going into it? Bobby Flay. Huh. Because I like Remy because I think that Remy is coming in as an underdog and he's going to be able to step out of his comfort zone and say, like, I'm not going to win this by staying safe. I have to make something extravagant in order to win and hope that it comes out well. And I think in his case, it will come out well. As Bob Flay is look at those ingredients and he's going to say, I made this 1,000 times. I'm going to make it 1,001. Where's, I'm not that dish might not be creative, but it's not new. It's not jumping off the pages towards the judges. You know how much they reward creativity. It's almost to the point where if something's good and extremely creative versus something that is an unbelievable meal but falls in the parameters of a normal everyday dinner, they side with the creative one. So I think that gives Remy a huge advantage.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think the reason that I'm going to pick Remy here is because while he is more of a novice, and I think that he might not, when he opens up that basket, there may be some things in there that he is not familiar with in the slightest. Bobby Flay's going to know. I mean, the craziest thing, he's going to know what it is. Remy, just because of his lack of experience, frankly, is not going to recognize some of these ingredients. However, he is a very, very quick learner on those things, and his instincts, his animal instincts. He's a smart son of a bitch, and his instincts are usually right. And we know that he performs well under pressure. And going into this matchup, Bobby Flay has nothing to lose. He's on the mountain, man. He's king of kings in the Food Network world. But Remy has basically his as a rat in the cooking world, no matter what, even with like the glowing
you have to
reviews,
prove yourself.
His reputation is on the line every time he steps into the kitchen. People are just looking to take him down.
But I think that my mind is kind of shifting that, almost using that, but flipping the script, is because Remy's always has to prove himself. There's always somebody out to get Remy, but I feel like he's just is comfortable with that position, comfortable with that underdog position that I'm saying. So he almost embraces as, I'm here, I have nothing to lose. Like,
See, I get the sense from Remy that he's just more neurotic.
He's more he's more uptight, strung, like wants to. I could see that too. Okay, but you're saying that he performs well under pressure. Another point about Bobby Flay that I thought of while you're talking about Bobby Flay's been on that panel of judges. He knows.
I don't know if he's ever
what
Craig's out. We'll just
maybe not on Chopped, but
he's judged stuff before, and not to mention he's an Iron Chef, like a top tier Iron Chef, which that's a TV show, whatever. But that is not like, you don't just become an Iron Chef. Frankly, like it's literally like the American Ninja Warrior of cooking.
So. Okay, so I would love nothing more than to take Remy here because I love the underdog story. I think that Remy just has all the factors that don't involve cooking going for him, right? Like he's just a little cute little Disney character running around. But I don't know if he beats Bobby Flay. I think that, because you also have to consider these are timed competitions. So Remy's going to have to figure out not only, he's figured out how to do this shit on his own, but now he's got to do it
He's got to manage the clock.
And clock management is not a skill that's easily obtained, and it's a skill that Bobby Flay has more than likely mastered.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So I think for the purpose of this fight, as much as it pains me, but I'm thinking if you said this and I say gun to your head, if you said gun to my head, I have to go Bobby Flay. I have to assume that Bobby Flay is going to throw on his, little apron, and he's going to whip up just a top-notch, out-of-the-park meal. And it's going to blow him away. And Remy's meal is going to be really good if he gets it done in time. It's going to be great if he gets it done in time. but I just worry that if he does get it done in time, it's because he rushed his process, and that might take away from his food. So I'm gonna lock in my answer at Bobby Flay. I know that you were leaning heavy Remy, and I would have to assume you still are, but you're definitely looking like there's an ounce of doubt, and it's hard because if there's an ounce of doubt, you have to work that through your brain yourself until you can truly decide. But I've determined that my ounce of doubt doesn't come from a cooking perspective. It comes from, it's like a fanboy thing. I like Remy.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think the time management thing is a huge deal. I mean, that's, I think, where Remy's lack of experience would really deter him.
But I don't think it's even that because, like you said, he can perform under pressure. So that pressure is going to help him.
I'm not selling because Remy is
short. But
while he may not, I mean, we don't even know if he can tell time as a rat, but he is a speedy guy. And while maybe he's going to, maybe having to rush would cause him to make a mistake, but I don't think so because he's very meticulous. He's very, very meticulous.
But the thing is, how is he, like, he has no prior planning. He's opening a basket, and now he has to deal with these ingredients. Like you were going, like, I believe that he will be able to do it by himself, but he won't be able to do it at the speed that Bobby Flay is with opposable thumbs and a body that's 16 times the size.
Fair enough. 16 times? It's more than 16 times, man. I don't know. But I think the human body is more than 16
I mean, let's say,
okay,
let's say, yeah, probably. Let's say he's 5 long. It's 5 times 16. 50, 30. That's 90 inches. No, that's right. 90 inches is almost 8 feet.
Fair enough.
I mean, I guess that's just height. We're not talking about, the whole, but
everything.
Whatever. This isn't a math podcast.
Index.
It's not a math podcast.
If there's one thing this podcast is not, it's a math podcast.
Lock in your answer, and then I have something off. After we get done with Tuna Cooler, I have something to say that involves math.
Oh, no. Okay. I think that Remy is going to win for many of the reasons that I've already stated, as well as a little bit of element of surprise. I think is going to work for him. I do think that even with his reputation, the judges are going to underestimate him, especially against a guy like Bobby Flay, and that does become a factor, I think, in their decision. Now, I don't think that's the only reason he would win. I just think that maybe that undercuts a few things that Bobby Flay does have going for him. So I think at the end of the day, it would not surprise me one bit if Remy the Rat
You're saying that Remy has more room for error in the eye of the judges.
Yes,
virtually.
That's for sure. Yes,
okay. I can get behind that. Yeah. Like I said, I was pulling for Remy, but I can't talk myself out of believing
just
that
about
Bobby
anybody
Flay
else except Bobby Flay, that'd be easy. But I
agree. But if we're talking about Bobby Flay, maybe throw Emerald in the mix. He bams a little too much for Remy, so that would probably startle him.
Emerald,
but other than that, those two guys.
So Remy versus Bobby Flay, physically, it's anyone's game between the two of them.
Yeah, but if we're talking about a true chop style, timed, surprise basket, I can't even argue with your pick.
Yeah.
But I have to side against it.
That's the way it goes.
So, out of curiosity, as always, see what Twitter has to say, see what Instagram has to say. Go vote. Don't be an asshole. Go vote. Let the people know what you think. People argue about everything else on social media. They'll argue about anything. Like what? You're afraid to argue about who would win in a cook-off, Remy the Rat versus Bobby Flay? That's where you draw the line. Okay, back to the math thing. Now that we're at who would win of the week. And then it'll be about that time because I might pass out due to starvation fairly soon. But I'm building a bar starting tomorrow, and it's really fucking cool. It's all planned out. Everything that needs to be done is ready to be done. It's really cool. But holy shit, do I hate doing math. I hate doing math. I was doing this math yesterday, like getting all the dimensions and everything for building the bar. And when you're building something, it's like I'm good. Like I can fairly quickly figure out like what the dimensions of something need to be, because you remember you have to factor in like the size of other board. You know what I mean? Like if you're drilling two boards together, somewhere there's you know what I mean? Like if you want a 16-inch bar top. Just whatever. It's just math. Like that shit I can do. I understand. Okay, a 2x4 is really like a 1 3/4 by 3.5. Right? It's not a true 2x4. That's so you have to account for that. It's not. And like I was sitting there last night, and I just got a headache thinking about the headache that I had last night when I was trying to make sure that like I wasn't gonna fuck this up. Because there's nothing worse than like starting something and then realizing like an entire part of your like plan was just like mismeasured. Like that's miserable. So you have to do it. But holy shit, does it suck. But the bar is going to be so cool. I'm hoping to honestly work on it for the majority of the day tomorrow and have it functional, but maybe not like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like finished look. And it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about it. Just in time for me to be able to. Okay, so my apartment. So where my dining room table was in my apartment? You and Zoe ate at it. You ate Jim's at it. I mean, and obviously that day we were playing video games and stuff, so the couches were all moved around. But regardless, in that room, so you know how the fridge is there? We have the beverage fridge there. So it's going to be it's not an L. It's going to be a corner bar, but it's perfect. It's same dimensions on both sides. It's going to be like, it's going to be like, whatever, like a little bit off the wall, like not quite 2 feet, just maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. It's all written down. It's all worked out. But it's going to be behind the bar. It's going to be an L. And I'm really excited because I want to use it on Saturday from the time that I wake up until the time that the Bills play in the AFC Championship game after they beat the Ravens.
All right.
I feel like that seems fair.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, that's cool. That's one of the biggest reasons that I want to own a house is because
I know you're a big bar guy.
Yeah, I've said it on the podcast a million times.
Yeah.
And not in the basement because that's the stupidest thing ever.
You hate the basement bar.
I
don't mind the basement bar.
Dumb. It's so
dumb.
That's
because you have an issue with like the idea that supports like a man cave. Like, but why?
Because I think having a bar in your house, to me, means you want it to be at least part of the central activity. That's what it's there for.
Yeah,
a bar is there to serve.
But what if your central activity when you have people over is like it's all your buddies and you're sitting around watching football or something, and you do that in your basement because you have everything else upstairs in the basement is your space, and you've got TVs and posters and jersey, whatever. You know what I mean?
I just think
a thought.
Look, there are folks that have man caves that aren't in basements, and I can see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. It's the basement part that I really don't like because who wants?
What's your bone to pick with basements? I love basements.
It's just doing stuff.
I'm a huge fan of basement. You know that.
Yeah, I know that all too well. But I just don't feel like the basement should be like the central area for
location.
For entertainment.
Well, how about this? What if you had double? What if you had double? What if you had a bar in your main floor that you could use for things and a bar in your basement for your main?
I guess that's fine. I mean, if you're gonna do it one way, I guess do it like that. But I've just seen so many bars and basements go unused and dusty.
Unused?
Yeah, and it's like, then why even have it?
No, I get that, but I agree. If you're not going to use it, then there's no point. But if you're going to use it, then I think it should be there. I don't know. All right, Andy. What are you thinking? What do you got?
Well,
it's that time. I think so too. I just didn't know if you had anything off of the rip. Well, I mean, yeah, but I'll live if you had one more thing that was worth me getting fired up about. But if you got nothing left in the tank either, then I'm out of here every day, all the time.
Well, I always got something going in the tank, but we'll save it for another time. I
All
got
right,
one
well,
story I thought of I
yeah.
could tell
Let's-
you, and we'll save it because it's a good one. So we'll see what's going on.
Okay, we won't get into it then, but we will say 1, go Bills. 2, go Sabres. 3, I don't know. I guess Nats for you, but are we sure about James Harden yet? I'm not sure, so I can't say go Nats. So 3, we'll just say that the NBA sucks. And then 4, go Bills again. 5, Andy, I love you. Everybody, thanks for listening. Go vote. Who would win of the week? Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz. Andy.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Let's get out of here.